It's time to raise the roof as the base skill ceiling has been raised so much more by our next fixture tonight. 40 as RAISY will go head to head with, of course, the big man himself, Base.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait. I based on the way the day is going, I'm assuming it's going to be just very close matches. But then you think, okay, it's RAISY and Base. It could go just into a tear out, blowout kind of a thing. Either way, it's just a great day of Quake, man. That's what Sundays are for, and I'm just glad to be here. It's fantastic.
No, it's sick. Yeah, we've been in for a treat with all of our games up to this point. I don't think this one's going to be any different. In fact, this has got a bit of an interesting caveat to it as well, right? Because obviously, Base has always kind of been RAISY's kryptonite whenever it's been bracket play. That's been one of the big factors where RAISY, when he's getting close, when he's getting deep towards the end of a tournament, Base somehow overthrows him and then eventually goes on to get dismantled by Rafa, where we've seen it a couple of times. But when we're in the groups, when we're back, of course, in the league, this is where it gets a bit more spicy. Both of them online, of course, as well. I mean, this one could actually be an entirely different result. I'm just excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, you know, you think RAISY, you think, are we going to see the clutch? We'll see a little bit later on when we get into the picks and bans. But Base is definitely someone to look out for with his defensive style play. I mean, a lot of people kind of say that Dewey plays similar to Base in that defensive style. We'll see if that comes out. But RAISY can just be an absolute nightmare, especially if he gets momentum going, especially if maybe he gets that clutch pick. It could be curtains for Base, but we'll see.
It could be. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the veto and we'll see how it's gone. I did ask him as well when we had the interview previously, is there any chance we're going to see you play the clutch, of course, throughout the season? And it doesn't look like it. Not today, at least, as it has been banned out once again. Base taking it out of circulation there, not allowing it to be picked up into today's games. But the champs that we are seeing start off with a bit of a banger. Blood Covenant, as the opening map, looks to be quite exciting, as you've got two very speedy champions going head to head.
Yeah, love seeing the Slash and Athena pick on Blood Covenant. I would favor Athena slightly given, you know, the verticality of that map and how Base can kind of use her grappling hooks to get literally anywhere he would want. Slash is still very speedy, so that should be a great start to the set. Then we got Sorlag and Galena, it looks like, on Ruins. Sorlag, we saw, you know, kind of Dramas use Sorlag on Ruins earlier. Very speedy champ with the rocket jumps, can get everywhere, but Galena can just set up this fortress down by the heavy. Doesn't even really need to go for Mega. You start getting the totem stacks, you get the overstack, and then you're just cycling heavy and using your own totems, so we'll see how that goes. And then rounding it off with Molten, we got Ranger and Visor. That's a more standard kind of a setup. It should be a fantastic set, and I'm just looking forward to seeing if RAISY will hit him with a gauntlet, because that's what everyone in chat wants to see. So we'll see.
Well, it's definitely one of the the signature plays that he pulls out at times. I'm excited. No matter what, I think this is going to be really good. Obviously, again, it is a complete clash of two entirely different play styles. Although, you know, I even myself at times have compared Dewey to a similar style of player as Base. Base definitely takes it to a whole nother level. It's a play style that definitely causes a lot of controversy inside of the community, but it's not an easy one to approach. The reason why it works so well for him is because obviously it does take a lot of dedication to being able to grind down a game so much, doing consistent damage whilst always keeping yourself out of having to actually commit to fights. It's very interesting. Obviously, if you haven't seen it before, strap in. You'll definitely be seeing a lot more of the exciting style of play coming out from RAISY, but Base does have his tricks up his sleeves. He can turn it on and off when he needs to for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've never liked that kind of train of thought where it's like, oh, you know, I don't really like the way so-and-so plays because it's too defensive. I mean, you're playing for money, you're playing to win, and it takes effort and commitment. Like, it's not easy to just plus back and win anyway. Just because you plus back doesn't mean you're automatically going to win. It takes a lot of consideration to play defensive, have escape routes, hit your shots as well as people aggress onto you. So I respect any style of play that puts up the W, and, you know, we'll see what style of play Base brings to the table against RAISY. But, yeah, I mean, just get over yourselves out there. It's disgusting.
It's a lot like your eating habits when it comes to cheesecake and mixes.
It's just so graphic and violent, yes indeed.
Just everywhere, smothering it in. Have you been able to keep cheesecake off the equipment this time around?
I had to, yes. Production was like, please clean yourself off. And I was like, all right, I'll do it for you guys. But usually I just leave crumbs in there for snacks, you know, midday breaks, you know, kind of tea and biscuits kind of a thing. You know, you understand.
Oh, yeah, I get it. I mean, that was the interesting part, right? Is obviously all of us got sent a load of stuff to use on air, whereas you just got sent, I think it was just packets of wet wipes, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And a small bag of crisps, I think is what you call them, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, well, this is fantastic. I was very excited.
We'll be really taking a couple of bites out of this one once we get into it 40, as it should be a tasty affair, right? Probably not as tasty as the crisps. Were they nice?
They were fantastic, yeah. A
What
little bit
were they?
salty. A little bit salty, but we'll see who's salty in this series here. Again, RAISY base. I don't know if it's going to be a clean sweep. I don't think that this kind of battle is going to lead to that. I think it's going to be a lot closer. But again, a little bit of me in the back of my mind thinks RAISY might be able to run away with it, but we'll see.
We'll see how it goes. I think it's always really hard to call, especially for RAISY when it's group play as well, when it is obviously league games like this. You never really know, because obviously he can turn up and basically wipe the floor with anyone he's in an arena with. He's always had that ridiculous godlike skill. Definitely going to be, if not, already now where he's sort of made his mark in the history of Quake, eventually will definitely leave a big legacy behind. He's only on the up and up, right? He's still so young, he's still achieving so much, but there's still so much of a future left ahead of him. For base, he's kind of been there, he's done that, but he's still on that grind. He's still keeping it going, and he's still leaving his legacy as he goes as well, which is why I think this is really an interesting one to get into. It is again sort of the clash of two different styles of Quake, two different generations of Quake players as well. It's just a really exciting one from every aspect of how you approach it.
Yeah, and what better way to start it than with such a high flying, set of champs, Slash and Athena on Blood Covenant. It should be fantastic, and I can't wait to get into it, Jackie. Kind of like the bag crisps.
Oh yeah, I bet you didn't waste any time, did you? Got those bad boys right.
They were gone in about. They were like Nicolas Cage. They were gone in about 60 seconds. Yeah.
Oh man, hoover them up like a little crisp slide. Where you fold the packet just so it's like a cone, just go straight into your mouth.
Call me Dyson. As everybody in chat starts spamming your Maestro and B100 emotes, we're live on this one. RAISY versus Base, and RAISY's going to be live on that Mega and taking a rail right off the bat. As Base, again, using that Athena can get everywhere he wants to get almost instantaneously.
Here we go then. As we get into it, let's see where the ruckus is going to be coming from. Early on, RAISY trying to protect his neck as Base. There's a little bit of damage. I say a little bit, actually a major amount. As RAISY, he's on death's door, and he's really knocking on it. He wants to come in. He wants to see the sweet release. At this point, he's nearly gone. Hits the, at least, defensive rockets to keep himself up for a little bit longer, but it's not going to matter. Base will shut him down and go straight back in for another fight, barely making his move into the heavy as well. So he's got one frag and a good stack to fight with.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that was Shaolin style or not, but, RAISY did his best to hit those defensive rockets and try and keep it close. So good on him, but just not quite landing the mark. Base, his aggression pays off, and he puts up that first frag. And I think, starting off like that, it's going to show, RAISY, I'm not scared of you. And that's going to be fantastic here for Bases. Here's the jump pad. Now he's trying to position himself on this heavy. And it looks like he's actually going to... Wow, what a rocket here. Now he's going to be able to dive back into the fray. Shotgun out. The blood pool's going to heal him up a little bit. There's... Wow. The grappling hook into shotgun, up the jump pad. He's leaving the item up. He doesn't even care about the heavy, as he just is on the hunt, it seems like.
Boy, oh boy. The Base from Base is truly at a high decibel right now because he is shaking RAISY to his core. RAISY, though, coming back in with the LG. It will not matter as Base overpowers him and leaves him again lifeless on the ground. That's 3-0 already in the space of 2 minutes, building up momentum. Obviously, Base's playstyle, where he does like to keep his distance between you, is going to be a big boon for a champion like Athena. But again, when he wants to get close as well, he can. He can grapple hook right into your domain and stake a claim. And that's just what he's done, leaving RAISY's head on a stake. 4-0 now.
And it's just amazing the way that Base is jumping around, leaving RAISY in a house of pain. 4-0, 2 minutes in, and you're absolutely right. The grappling hooks take him everywhere that he wants to be. In your face, defensively, he can get away. What a rail through the telly there, as RAISY already taking damage. Trying to use nails, lightning, anything he can to position on this Mega. He's going to drop down. That's going to hurt. There's another free rail for Base. But now he's going to take his leave. He's going to say, that's yours, that's fine. You take that. He's going to make his way over to the heavy.
Nice amount of damage done, to at least make him a bit more supple, a bit easier to crack into as he removes the hard exterior and then drops down to finish off the meaty flesh that was left there as Base is again fragged out. And RAISY finally comes in, welcomed to the scoreboard with his opening kill. Quick transition there from the plasma to the rail, but not too much damage is going to be done. They're fighting tooth and nail over control of the Mega, of course, as it's now spawned in. Base uses the grapple to launch himself over the angle. So there's no potential peak that can come out from RAISY. They split the major items, 1-1 apiece. Now leave a bit of gap between one another. Up the bounce pad, there could be a flank here from RAISY, but instead just skirts his way over towards Mega and can dibble around if he wants to. He's got 10 seconds till it'll come back up. Looks for the early peak, but won't spot out base.
I think he heard the jump here, and RAISY might lay an attack before he doubles back to the Mega. So Snail Trail comes out here. He's going to try and secure the heavy, laying down a little bit of insurance here. Here's the rocket jump up. Is base going to hit the rockets? He switches in time, but doesn't get the damage he wants, but does get the spacing. But wow, the speed of RAISY. He's going to eat a rail. Is he going to make it? He won't! He gets knocked down, has to go off the jump pad, and base with 2 layup rails takes him out before he can grab the Mega.
Grapple hook to greater heights, spots him as both of them are using that sheer speed as their competitive edge, but it won't matter! Oh, I'll tell you what, because base, like a serrated edge, cuts his way straight through RAISY, leaving a bloody mess in its path. Barely gets himself out of trouble there as well, as the rails are raining in hard and fast. 5 seconds until Mega is once again up and kicking. RAISY bails out immediately. He did not fancy lurking around and trying to contest for that one. He pieces out.
And I'm still in awe of that rocket from down below the middle ground up to the rail. Base using the grappling hook to bob and weave those rockets here as RAISY trying to get in on this heavy, but base slides in. Snail Trail comes out for a little bit of extra mobility. Machine gun isn't going to be enough. Base trying to hit the last rail, and he does finally connect. Wow, this is absolutely insane here. As the grappling hook doesn't work out for base, but RAISY is just, he's digging a hole. 6 frags down, 5 minutes in. He is going to grab the Mega, but he's got a lot of work to do, and he's just eating rails around every single corner.
You are absolutely right. Base is really shoveling these frags onto a big old pile. As he's just building up a luscious lead. 6 kills, towering over what RAISY has been able to establish at the minute. For an opening map, this is a ginormous start for a player like base, where he likes to slow down that tempo, really great out time if he can, but at the minute he's just going to be gritting his teeth. As RAISY comes flying in through the doorway, they get locked into a close range engagement. He does a ton of damage on the escape and grapples out, cutting off the rotate for RAISY. Listening out, ears are perked up, watch him with the LG, and melts him just like that.
And just RAISY cannot catch a break right now. Base up 7. And who was the one on the panel that said it wouldn't be a blowout? I don't remember. Was it me? My bad. As it's looking bad, RAISY's actually going to get the assist with the LG push from base onto the Mega. Base doing incredible amounts of damage. He should be able to tickle this one, and he does as RAISY tries to jump over and get out of there, but nothing doing. Base is just racking them up, stacking bodies.
Base trying to get this frag as hard as he can with a quick peek out. There's a little bit more damage on the getaway, but RAISY does fade away into the distance, trying to keep himself alive, heart pounding in his chest. He's got to be spooked with how the game's been going so far. And he's got to be scared by the fact that there just isn't too much time left on the clock on this one. Base has a grasp on the game that I don't think he's going to let go of. Some freebie peaks coming out, near misses with the rails that are being shot straight towards the big old head of base, but none of them are going to connect. Instead, he keeps his distance, lurking up on the pedestal. Pre-fire rocket going down, but the predictive won't actually land. Does back off, at this point has conceded control of the Mega if RAISY wants to take it. He's going to wait for the spawn. This doesn't really change things too much, though, because, of course, we're late into the game. Base, he's still got an 8-frag lead. He can afford to waste a bit of time now and keep distance between the both of them.
Just admiring the architecture, the wall textures right there. And
nice bit of marble.
The last 2.5 minutes, if they pass this way, I would be very impressed here as RAISY finds him. But none of the rockets find RAISY, and now he's on top of him doing a little dance with his rollerblades and gets knocked off the bridge, and that could have been a frag. But Base, for a while there, was just absolutely flabbergasted at where RAISY was. RAISY does have the better stack, still down by 8. There's the push with the LG. That should be a frag. Even with the rocket to the face, he's going to be able to tank that and grab the Mega. Could this be the start of something beautiful? I don't know, because it's a tremendous amount of work, and we all know that Base can play defensive as... well, you know.
Ooh. Jumps his way over the rocket. Barely bunny hopping over that one. Switches out to the rail as well, but that won't land. Base somehow outmaneuvering one of the best champions for maneuverability in the game. Just making it look easy. It was trivial for him. as he tramples RAISY, gets himself to 10, rocking up the double digits, and really rocking up, looking fly right now with the way he's playing this game, 40. And there isn't too much time left on the clock as well. It's nearly set in stone that the first will be a dominant victory here for Base if he can keep this up for about a minute and a half.
I don't think he'll have any problem with that. RAISY trying to get up close and personal here. The rockets raining down. Rail will miss vertically here as RAISY just doesn't have options. He's not hitting his shots. He wants to cycle items, but there's just not enough time. He's going to burn 3 seconds waiting for this Mega. And every second that passes, another grain of sand on his own grave. A fleck of dirt, if you will, Jackie, here. As the rocket around the corner will land a little bit. He's got to chase. There's more rocket damage. Base with the LG out, ready to stand his ground and melt him again. 11-2 in favor of Base.
Oh, man. He's woke right now. Big old Base God coming in fresh for the victory, as it looks like it's his to walk away with, especially when he makes a play like that. The quick peek with the rail, ripping it to pieces and sealing the deal. 12 frags on the board, a 10 frag lead over RAISY. This is no easy opponent. This is no easy feat. This is RAISY. Smoking Joe Fraser, the Hellraiser, that right now is just getting slapped in the face by the flavor that Base is bringing. 13 frags on board. It's done, 40. It's over.
Yeah, call it time of death. That was such a great display from Base. And I don't think anybody expected this. I know I didn't. 13-2 on Blood Covenant for Base. Wow, what a display. Starting off the set with a bang. And I don't know what you even say about that. He was just everywhere. It was all over RAISY, just relentless, merciless, crushed him every time he saw him, just outputting the damage as high as he can. I don't know. How do you overcome something like that?
Base just, I don't know, he just looked like a rash, right? Like he was just all over him the entire time. It didn't matter what RAISY wanted to do, if he wanted to slow it down, if he wanted to speed it up, Base was just there and always one step ahead. Also just really giving it. In terms of the actual damage he was doing, the output was straight fire, man. Like he was hitting his rockets, hitting his rails. The LG wasn't missing a trick either. Just a clean display there from Base. And it's unfortunate as well because like the opening encounter, even when he got that first opening frag, RAISY made it very awkward and very hard for him. The defensive rockets he put down were actually pretty crisp. But he never got another opportunity after that to actually play in control, right? He was always on the back foot. That's not really a spot you want to be in when you're up against the big man of Base.
Yeah, I thought it was the first fight. You're right. I thought that was kind of dictate kind of the way the game was going to go, right? Very, very close fighting, a lot of defensive rockets, a lot of I got to, push past this angle and eat a lot of damage. But then Base, I mean, look at that, 1,200 extra or 1,600 extra damage. He just took off with it. Like, that's absolutely insane. And it wasn't even an item thing. It was just he was hitting everything. So much damage with the rail. The rockets were insane. It's just a very stifling. RAISY never got his footing.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? I've said Base has been a dark horse for ages. I thought he was going to win back in Katowice. I thought he would actually be the one to walk away with the victory at the LAN because his form looks sick on the build-up to it. Obviously got beaten out in the end by Rafa. It's just how good he can be when he's allowed to play his playstyle. Also, he's adapted a lot more as well. Like, even now, you can see he's clearly more welcoming to change up the playstyle when he needs to. When he wants to just rely on his aim and rely on playing a bit more aggressive, he can, because he can back it up. It's never been as if he's a player that has to play slow, has to play defensive, because that's how he wins. That's the only way he wins. That's just what he integrated into his playstyle, and he found worked really well. It was a smart sort of change to, obviously, the standard meta of Duel, and it still is a big boon for him. But when he wants to just turn it on and absolutely mess you up, he can. And we've seen that quite clearly there.
Yeah, and I think that might mess with people's heads because they're like, what is he doing? Why is he playing so aggressive? And with a champ like Athena, before you know it, you're down 5 frags, he's got the lead, and he could revert back to that defensive style if he wanted to. But that was all gas, no break right there. He just kept taking it to RAISY. 13-2, that's a huge start to the set for Base.
It's a sick opener. Obviously, it is just the beginning, though. He hasn't won the series yet. He needs to get the second map if he wants the guaranteed 2-0 victory. If he wants the full 3-0, then the path is even longer. We move on over to our second map, though, and we'll see if he's got what it takes to get back into the game now, 40.
Starting off on RAISY, on old Sorbet. Hopefully he can get a better start on Ruins, or maybe Base will leave him in Ruins here if he can take 2 maps in a row. Might be shocking the world. I know the first map already did here. Is RAISY already playing very slow? Wants to try and set up a trap, maybe get some spit going and absolutely decimate Galena here. And it looks like Base is gonna kind of play that standard game that we've seen, maybe just try and set up a fortress, if you will, down on that heavy armor. Doesn't really need to go for Mega if he gets a good totem economy going. And both players, look at this. Waiting for the sound cue of the other. I could dance all day, Jackie. That's what they're saying.
Oh,
no, you
man.
pick it up. No, you pick it up.
Who's going to pick it up first? Who's your money on?
I think Base might buckle a little bit. RAISY looks like he's just walking. He might even drop down and get crazy. And he does, but he drops for the rail instead. And both players left their items up, and I think Base went up the jump pad. No, he doubled back. Okay. So, yeah, you owe me £5. Base picked it up first. But RAISY's still adding a bit of a delay. And this is a very interesting game so far on Ruins.
He is. He finally picks it up. I don't owe you any money, by the way. That's not how a bet works. You didn't get in there quick enough. You delayed, much like the delay we've seen on the main street. Go on. What? What's your point?
I said that Base will buckle first as RAISY was making his way out. And there's the rocket into the rail, into the spit. That's going to melt Base. He does have totems. And again, that's how strong Galena could be with those totems. And that being said, Overstack is now available for him. So just like that, he went from on the verge of dying to just being so incredibly stacked. And now he has to be careful. And I love that play from RAISY. He's like, I'm going to, just in case, get around the corner, make sure everything's clean, then I'm going to clean him up. And now Base has the high ground, misses with the rail, a little bit of tickle from down below. RAISY knows the heavies first because of that massive delay from the first set. And he should be able to take full map control here, depending on which route he takes out of heavy room.
Okay. So all break, no gas right now. Might actually see a bit of aggression coming out though as they go against one another in the middle of the arena towards Mega. And there could be a mess left in the place where Base used to be, but somehow he finds the frag, goes down to the spit. After, though, the martyrdom kill effectively being picked up there by Sorlag. After all of that, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, it ends in a stalemate. A 1-to-1 trade, but there's still more damage being inflicted as RAISY, quick-witted and quick on his feet, dips down over towards Heavy, grabs it. He's got the vest on his chest and he's ready to make a mess as he peeks back out over towards Mega once again. Base conceding, doesn't fancy his chances here for you.
And the stack on RAISY is just absolutely gigantic here. Can he just find him out? There's a good rocket. There's the preemptive spit. I don't think any of it connected. There's the LG pushing him through the telly. Base is stuck in a bad way. The totem goes out. RAISY with a pixel-perfect rocket takes him out up 2-1. And you could tell RAISY's just tired of it. That first map didn't go his way. He wasn't happy with it, and he might take out his aggression right here on Base on Ruins, as he might heat up here. Mega's going to be up soon, but he doesn't care. LG on LG, and the stack is going to be fat enough, and Base does good damage, but RAISY just too thick. He's going to be able to double back to the Mega, catching him out again as Base thinks it's safe. The shotgun's not going to save him, and RAISY is the one to stack bodies now.
Oh man, just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water, RAISY with the big old jaws coming out. We're going to take a bite out of Base again and again and again. Already a free frag advantage for the Lizard at this point. Will it be maintained, though? Going in for another frag. He's hungry for a scrap. Goes in, throws down the right hook, and slays him once again. Winning out in that encounter at the perfect time as well to pick up the Mega and build back up that stack. Can retreat away. Doesn't have to harp on to a dangerous angle either. Skirts his way around through the portal and evades Base for a few more moments. Somehow we're already 4 minutes in, 40. 2 minutes were effectively wasted before the first frags, and then RAISY has just turned up the heat, and we're really looking at a Disco Inferno now.
Disco Inferno indeed. Things heating up here. Good initial rail from Base, looking for another one here as RAISY somehow finds a rail of his own. Totem goes down for Base to heal back up a little bit. He's in a bad way here though. The spit is available as well for RAISY. Well-placed rockets and the shotgun from downtown as he drops down and takes him out 6-1. RAISY, I think he's not going to be happy until this is maybe 12-1, something like that. He's looking very, very strong here. A complete 180 from the first map. As he's going to catch him out again. Base going to try and do as much rocket damage as he can. He picks up the health to survive, but 7-1. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
Oh, 40. Man, this is like a Dragon Ball Z storyline. We're literally just seeing RAISY now finally uncap power levels back up to full. He's not weighed down by nothing at the minute, and he's showing off, just dismantling Base. Base did the same to him on the first map. but it's not going to be that easy the whole way through. I was saying, RAISY, an incredibly hard competitor, to force into a box like Base did. Now, of course, he's broken out, and he is really out for blood. LG in close range combat, quick switch to the rocket, but it doesn't impact. The splash damage doing a nice amount, but not enough to chunk him out. He stays alive and starts to build back that lead. A large lead, though, 40. And we're already at the 5-minute mark, so a lot of work to be done by Base. And Base has taken LG to the face as he gets quite low. Quick peek around with the LG, barely misses on the pre-fire. A little bit too early.
Just missing out. Using that totem really well, though, but he's not getting that economy that he wants, that you'd want as a Galena. He's not able to get the overstack. We saw it briefly for a moment there, but RAISY's been doing a great job of just making sure those totems are deleted instantly when he sees them. And now he forces his way onto the Mega, and Base has nowhere to go. The Rockets might be able to stop him temporarily, but that Dinosaur's coming for blood, and he's clapping those cheeks. That's 8-2 as Base falls yet again to RAISY. Maestro boy looking a lot stronger here, saying, you know what, that first map was a fluke. I don't even like Slash. Looking a lot stronger here on Sorbet. The spit comes out. He is going to eat a rail, possibly in the tail, but he's going to make his way out to the courtyard, grab that 50, and he's feeling it right now. He's just flying around the map. The Mega is going to be up. He's going to make his way onto it, potentially. I thought Base had the opportunity to grab it, but it looks like Base is down, waiting by the heavy. So if RAISY knows, he can go grab it, but it looks like the Mega is going to get no love.
It's been left out in the cold multiple times into this matchup. It will eventually be picked up with a bit of a difference between both of the major items and a bit of a difference when it comes to the stack that either one of our pros have. RAISY, of course, trailing behind slightly here on the Sorlag. Good peek out, though, to try and equalize things with the rail. Base offering himself up as effectively fish food at this point as he's trapped in the corner. Taking off the rocket, the dip out from RAISY that has nothing to lose if he just runs away, avoids and wastes time, getting himself those major items so that he can tower over Base, only going for the high percentage frags now, effectively using Base's very own playstyle against him, catches him as he stubs his pro on a rocket, goes in for the full commit with the LG, he's bounced up in the air time and time again, and eventually laid down by the rocket, but it's 1 kill 40, and it took so long to even get that 1 kill that the chance of Base bringing this game back is slim to nothing.
And that was just a matter of RAISY saying, I'm going to do this regardless. And he does it again, and he can't take down Base. And RAISY needs to be careful. He can't just keep playing like that. Base using the totem very well previously on that frag to heal up in the middle of the fight and use the LG. That was just a matter of standing his ground on that last frag there. But he's still 4 down, 2 minutes left. He is going to have another totem at his disposal shortly, and he's going to totem the top of the jump pad, excuse me. He's waiting for a rail angle, just barely missing that dinosaur there. That's going to hurt, as all the damage adds up right now as we're getting closer to 1:30 left, down 4 on Ruins specifically, too. RAISY can just run if he wants. Ooh, there's the denial, the spit, too, and that's going to burn, as the Base has no choice. He has to go through the telly to get the health, but all of this is just wasting time.
Rail goes out. Base at this point, quite literally trapped. Will go down again, fragged out. He wanted to get the gauntlet out, but he couldn't quite connect with the Wicked Skengman play. Won't matter though, as this one is already won, right? 9 frags here. There's only going to be 60 seconds left on the clock. For Base, it's just not doable to bring it back to close this one out, meaning we are going to be going 1-1. And then the third map will have so much more stock to it. We still have a minute left of competition though, and for RAISY, I suppose the question is, what more can he show us? Right now, just wasting time once again, waiting for a bit of a peak to come out with a fairly filthy rail angle. Would have been a hell of a hurty-verty if he connected it, but doesn't land the shot.
And chat, just waiting for that gauntlet. 30 seconds, it's still possible. There's a good rail from Base, and it doesn't look like RAISY's going to be able to close the gap, and even to attempt one, at least on this map. Will we see a gauntlet before the end of the series? We have 1 entire map left. But this was a complete 180, as I said again, for RAISY. Just a great start. Relentless pressure. Base did get some good defensive frags as RAISY was aggressing, but at that point, you know, RAISY was already up 6 or something, 6-5, I don't even know. So I really like the kind of pivoting and the adaptation that RAISY had, and he was like, you know what, I outstack you. I can play aggressive. I have spit. I know you have totems, and they did come in handy for some of the fights for base. But RAISY overall just relentless, dominating, came out swinging, and was like, you know what, that first map does not count. Please wipe that from the record immediately.
Yeah, just made up for it massively. Obviously, a completely different style of play there, especially when you think about the first couple of minutes of that one as well, how it was so slow. Then this was the opening encounter. It looked like base was done for. He hits a ridiculous rail and then died to the tick damage. That was when the game truly began. And from that point forward, it was just the RAISY show. He did not stop with the murdering.
Can't stop, won't stop as the Maestro Boy comes out on top. 1-1 though. We're going to go over to Molten, and it's going to be Ranger versus a Visor. A little more traditional. Both medium champs should be a little bit closer, and depending on how the orb is used. I mean, I always harp on that, right? But the orb can be used for burst damage and absolutely mutilate your opponent up close, or you can get those cheeky plays where, you know, you're in and you're out. Next thing you know, you have full map control, and your opponent's like, how did that just happen to me? So I look forward to seeing that. But knowing RAISY, I feel like it might be an issue of burst damage or just misdirection completely, where I think he's used it before just to throw him out and have options, right? You can get in a fight, you can throw your orb out preemptively, and if it goes bad, it gets a little hairy, you just hit the button and you're out of there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember talking to RAISY as well. I think this was a couple of stage finals ago, like asking him about obviously like champions that he feels like are really strong currently in terms of the game, and what he feels like could be, you know, a bit of a sleeper, really strong ability. And he was telling me how the Dire Orb is genuinely one of his favorites in the sense that it can be so strong, and there is so much use that you can get out of it, right? So we're probably going to be seeing a really good display of that Ranger once we get into this game. I feel like it's going to be sick. He knows exactly how to use it to every tactical edge that he wants. If that is raw damage output, or just to juke them out and leaves them absolutely baffled about what you're up to, there's a lot of plays that can be made. And I feel like as a third map, this should actually be a treat. The series has already proven it's interesting, and we've gotten the 1-1-40, meaning, of course, no matter what, this is going to be a series win for someone based on the outcome of this final map.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how base plays the Visor. Is he going to play more of a defensive style? Is he going to be a little bit more aggressive? We'll see. I feel like he's going to kind of maybe fall back to that traditional slow and steady trap. Use the vision whenever you want, or whenever you can, rather, to kind of figure out where your opponent is in case you lose track of him. But you never know. He could just come out swinging and get, 4 frags in a minute. So it all depends on how base feels. And I'm looking forward to seeing who could take this set.
Yeah, no, it should genuinely be an exciting third map, because obviously at the end of this one, we will find out who has won the series, who gets a 2-1 victory, who gets the money, the bragging rights, and also, of course, the points to push themselves further up the standings, as we are getting pretty close towards the end of this season. We're in week 8, so it all matters. We are back in. We'll start off from RAISY's POV as we get into Molten Falls.
I like that delay, but base read it perfectly. Might even get this frag. So much damage there. And that's usually a great play. Is it going to be lucrative? It is, as base is too late to get back to his own item, and I love that play from RAISY. He delayed, he went for the 50 shard first to stack the heavy on top of it afterwards, and here's a Dire Orb play, gets out of dodge, doesn't need to hit the rail, he's still safe, and base was just not quick enough to get back to the Mega after pushing and trying to get that quick early damage, potentially frag at the heavy. And so that's a strong start from RAISY here. Wow, that nail damage, are you kidding me?
God, he's been put up like a shelf. Nearly dead off the back of the nailing.
Base doing his best Tim the Toolman Taylor impression here, as he is just laying the hurting down. RAISY, 69 HP. Nice. He needs to wait on that 50 shard. That's a good rocket up the jump pad there. But he's going to back away, not today, Disco Lady here, as he's still hurt. No armor to his name, trying to survive. The 50 shard will come up just in time. But is he going to try and press on for this heavy?
Oh, the drop down. Bit of plasma. Straight into the eyeball. That's going to sting. But this could sting even more. Rail transition with a Dire Orb engagement. Pulls out the rocket. Hits it. They're both tremendously low.
Wow.
Free fire with the LG. It was already beaming, but it's not enough to bust him as he goes down off the back of the shotgun there from base. Equalizing. Back at a 1-to-1 standpoint. The LG pulled out as well to at least lay down a little bit of covering fire, giving base an opportunity to sidestep his way out, pick up the heavy, and also pre-fire on the angle, so there is no push from RAISY.
1-to-1 as the Dire Orb will come back into play here for RAISY. Base gets a clean Mega, which is going to be huge. That stack looking real strong here. Doesn't have vision for 15 seconds, but he might be able to catch him out here at the banana. I think he saw just a little bit of him. But the rockets from RAISY around the corner are fantastic. He's going to engage off that. There's the push. There's the dire up to close the gap. And the LG might be enough, and it is. And Pumpkinhead comes up with 2 frags. And now the 1 frag lead. But Mega's not up for 8 seconds. Is Base going to re-aggress rather quickly? Pops the vision and gets the rail. He could drop down with the shotgun, and he will. Needs to be careful, and wow, just like that. The Mega was right behind RAISY.
Base. Keeping the game close. Ooh, this could be the chance for him to get himself a good lead as well, as finally he has the 1 frag edge once again. 5 seconds until Heavy's going to be spawning in. Tries to take the initiative, pushing around on the close angle, ready for the peek up coming from the bounce pad. Does know exactly where RAISY is, but RAISY's rails are ridiculous as he goes flying through the porter, really punishing. Back up the bounce pad though, 40. Creates a bit of distance between the both of them. They both transition a bit of damage onto one another. We're at the 3-minute mark. Base with the piercing sight peeks in, hits the bit of damage off onto RAISY, leaving him in a slightly worse position, but he still heals up. He still gets the Mega, so the shoe is firmly on the other foot. Base is the one in the rough spot at this point. Has to slowly grind his way around the map, hoovering up any of the small health bubbles he can find to give himself a little bit of sustainability, and that really is only a little bit. He's got 100 HP total stack to work with up against the fully tonked out RAISY that is on the hunt, roaming around. They effectively just create a split between one another, locking down either half of the map.
One direct rocket, and that'll call it, as RAISY just looking for the opportunity. The vision comes back for Base, and that's going to be able to give him the information so he could buy more space and to kind of traverse the map safely here, as he's still looking for armor. Shuffling on over. And he sees the green at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. 50 armor under his arms now, as RAISY still outstacks massively if you take a look there. Abilities will be back up shortly for both players. And now Base has 2 50s to work with, so a decent stack. But still, nothing on RAISY here. But again, this is the style that we kind of wanted to see from Base, or rather expected, as that rocket into LG. I thought he was going to ride the lightning all the way down. That defensive rocket was good. The rail from RAISY to initiate was fantastic. Still doesn't fully commit, as that rocket stopped him dead in his tracks. There's the rocket jump up into rail. RAISY needs to be careful. The shotgun's coming out, but Base doesn't realize he dropped down until too late. RAISY's going to be able to escape back to the rail.
10 seconds left until we hit the halfway point on this map. It's still only a 1 frag lead for Base. He's been holding on to this for as long as physically possible. Of course, this is normally the game plan. On a map like Molten, this is where he can fall back into his old strides a lot easier. He can waste time, he can avoid, and he can just create space between the opposition here of RAISY. Doesn't have too much to do though right now, as of course there's still 15 seconds till Heavy's up. They head back towards middle. Will he hear out the audio cue? We do see RAISY stop dead in his tracks and begin to reposition back around. The piercing sight gives over fully fledged info to Base. He knows he needs to make a move. 2 seconds till Heavy's up, and it looks like RAISY has won that one. Goes up the bounce pad for the early peek in case. Now goes back, grabs it, and has a good stack to work with. For Base, again, it's just been scrimping and saving on any of the smaller items that he can find, and just keeping his distance. Sticking to his guns with his normal playstyle.
Yeah, doesn't have much to his name, but he's doing great in terms of saving what he can during this recession. The defensive rocket's not going to land. He needs to be careful as RAISY makes his way, closes the gap. The LG is going to be enough, and that's going to tie it, and Base couldn't hold on any longer. Finally, RAISY cracking that defense, tying it at 3. 4 minutes left, and here's the battle near the Heavy, and Base just lying in wait. And that was really, really well done there, as he takes that frag right back, and all of RAISY's hard work is undone. Is he going to drop on this Mega in time? He is, and the rocket is fantastic to engage on. 42 HP, and Base hits him with the shuffle, goes through the telly, drops back down to the 225s, but he's still so incredibly weak.
Thing is, obviously, for Base, right? If he can just waste time, he doesn't really give a damn. This is the classic play style. You get 1 frag, you get that slight edge, you squirrel it away for as long as you can. You bury it. You make sure that you're not going to be giving it up. Dire Orb goes in, but there's no commit from RAISY. It was just a bit of a bait play to, of course, strike some fear. also scare base into not overcommitting. He does double back, lurking around close towards the Mega. Again, I mean, he's been doing a great job of wasting time effectively, as we are now at the 7-minute mark. It's just, when is RAISY going to be able to cut him off? That Dire Orb, of course, being a key part of the puzzle. He needs to use that perfectly to actually get ahead of base, as when it comes to stack, base is in a rough spot. Rocket's going down though, walks him up, grabs the Mega for the first time in quite some time, but it's not enough. He does do a lot of damage, but there's no raw frag. We're back to a 4-4, as again, it is a level playing field.
RAISY tying it up at 4, but he took so much damage here. Starting stack for base is much better. He's going to be able to have position on this heavy, making it even harder for RAISY to engage on anything. Does have rails if he can take, so there's one. He's going to need a little bit more than that, though. As base taking full map control. Still lacking an LG. He's probably going to make his way over right now to that, as he does. Vision will be back up in 9, and yeah, RAISY has to play very patient here. Try and stack up off the 50s and then make a play, maybe get some rails, maybe a fantastic rocket. Ball is in Vase's court right now.
RAISY, listening out for the audio cues. Here's exactly where he is. Obviously, being able to just keep distance between the both of them is going to be the biggest play. Could be sticking out slightly there towards the actual angle the base is coming from. I was worried he was going to expose himself. Ooh, potential the base has actually just caught a glimpse of him. And it seems like he's engaging off the back of that contact, fully committing as he pushes round the corner, doubles back now from the little bit of damage he's done to grab himself the heavy, topping himself back up through the portal. RAISY with the bait play, going in for the peek, and then out for the getaway. If there's a frag here, it would mean there's a minute left on the clock and a 1 frag edge for one of the 2 competitors. RAISY getting a bit aggro now, charges in as the rockets come out, barrage after barrage, damage being done. Quick transition to the LG, puts a big number down on the board, but it's not enough as the 5th frag will be spotted out by a base with a rocket connection. 50 seconds left. RAISY, off the back of the damage he knew he had done, fully commits for the follow-up frag 40. He's gunning for this one.
Base hanging on by a thread. His stack is decent, but he can't really take that much damage. RAISY just looking for any opportunity to get in there, and that defensive play from base, just a plus back rockets, that whole sequence, just warning shot after warning shot, and RAISY just kept going. He felt he could get the frag, and is it going to cost him? There's the Dire Orb from behind, and he gets the LG and catches him off guard, and RAISY ties it at 5 with 20 seconds left.
5-5. Sudden death could be coming up. Unless we suddenly see base meet his maker as he goes through the portal. RAISY holding on the angle, trying to tuck in as close as he can to keep himself out of trouble. Peek through it just the last time,
wow.
And he'll get it. The last possible second. A bit of body hurt for good measure as well as he blows the legs off of base and shuts down the game.
And that was just the last stand, right? Base popped the vision. He only had shotgun. He couldn't really go anywhere. A rocket jump would have caught him off guard, so he decided to just stand his ground and say, all right, are you going to come through the telly? And RAISY was like, you better flea hops and get your head flown 3 blocks. And he just served up a big L right there, taking that series 2-1. That was crazy.
Done. Locks it up, gets it in the bag. I mean, base got away with playing his playstyle for so long, effectively the entire game. Had a good command on it, just wasting time constantly. Clearly, that aggravated RAISY. We saw him turning up the tempo, going for more of a bit of a stretch to get himself back in. Didn't really work out, but the follow-up certainly did, and he closes it down. Not waiting for sudden death, wanted to end it right then and there, and he did so.
Just really well done. I mean, that kind of duel takes a mental toll on you, you know, like having to grind out. It's a war of attrition. It's not, you know, nothing's coming easy. And so good on RAISY to hang in there and just make all the right choices he needed to and come out on top 2-1. But base played fantastic throughout the set. I mean, that first map was such a landslide. I don't think anyone really saw that coming. Maybe it was the Slash pick. We don't really see RAISY on Slash too much, I don't think. Not in recent time. Well, more recently, but before it wasn't really his favorite. So that could have played into it, but just dominating performance on map number 1. And then, you know, Ruins was pretty close. And then this one was just a nail biter. I don't know, Jackie. I gotta do something. I gotta start taking meds or something. My blood pressure, I can't, man. I can't.
It's not ideal. It's not ideal. It's
It's
far
not.
too scary with how these games have been going tonight, 40. And we're not even done, mate. There's not chance for you to have a bit of a rest and build yourself back up because it just keeps on giving, of course. We have another matchup tonight that should be quite tantalizing before we get into our two featured fights of the evening. Of course, up next after the break will be Zeneku taking on Rafa. Two very different players, but it is going to be very fun when we get them in the arena. Come back for that after the break.